My name's Naomi. I'm a member of the Conscious Combat Club. I joined the Conscious Combat Club a few years ago after being the victim of sexual violence. So I undertook the 8-week introduction to the kickboxing techniques. It's been a great way to develop my confidence again after what happened to me. It's also been a really great way to expand my safety circle in areas that I feel safe and I feel comfortable. Before I started the Conscious Combat Club, I wasn't doing any exercise. I wasn't really leaving the house much, and I was reliant on my partner to kind of take me to places. I started building my confidence more. I started feeling like I had some of my independence back. I am now out most days doing things. I feel much more confident and much happier. We all bring our different skills, our different knowledge, our different levels of expertise. There's something about having a shared experience and something about learning a new skill together that's really great for developing new relationships. Through the Conscious Combat Club and the classes, I've learned a lot of new skills, particularly grounding techniques. So they're basically a way to lower your heart rate and get to a more calm, regulated state when you might feel overwhelmed or triggered by something. And because exercise is kind of a safe way to increase your heart rate in this type of environment, you're able to build these grounding techniques and ways to regulate yourself. So Pound and Ground is a game that Georgia invented, but I named. So it was one of the first activities that I learnt in the program. Basically, you pound, so you get your heart pounding through whatever exercise method you choose. It could be star jumps, running around, maybe you want to practice the kickboxing techniques, and then you ground. So Georgia will run us through various different grounding techniques. So we do it in intervals of 30 seconds, so 30 seconds pounding, then 30 seconds of grounding. And I think one of the really great parts is that there's a lot of choice and there's a lot of different options. You have a choice about how much you want to increase your adrenaline or how much output you want to do and how you want to do it. So before I started the program, I was really spending a lot of time just in my head and not a lot of time actually in my body. So I was often getting triggered or thinking about anxieties, future, past, you name it. Through the program, I was able to reconnect to my body, and it gave me a chance to notice different sensations and notice different muscles working. And so that's been just given me a break from, you know, always thinking and always worrying about things. When you're in the program, you're focusing on the movements, you're focusing on the muscles, you're focusing on how your body's working and how it's moving. And so it really gives you kind of a way to reconnect to your body and a way to kind of get out of your head and into the room. We use invitational language. So when we're doing exercises together, you give people choice. You ask them if they'd like to do this. You give them different options. So there's not a level of that kind of force that I think a lot of classes come with, especially in the martial arts world. I always wanted to try kickboxing, I always wanted to try Muay Thai, but I never felt like there was an environment where I could feel safe enough to do so and where I wouldn't be pushed outside potentially my comfort zone. I think incorporating consent is a really, really important part of the program, and I also think that it allows us to also build our language for how to speak with consent and how to speak with invitational language as well, and how to be assertive in our boundaries. For me, I wouldn't probably be a part of a martial arts program that was mixed gender. I think when we're dealing with our own traumas and we might have been the victim of gender-based violence, it can be really hard to feel comfortable and to feel safe in a small environment, in a small group with men, especially when you're doing things that are kind of inherently physical and potentially aggressive. So I think that having the program as women's only has meant that people like me can access martial arts, which is something that we wouldn't be able to access otherwise. Through my experiences with trauma, I've done a lot of different therapies, I've seen different therapists, I've done different programs and things, but this has probably been the one that's been the biggest change in my life entirely, because it's a group program and because it's a women's only program and because it incorporates both the confidence skills-based things with also the grounding and relaxation. So it has these two, you're not just focusing on how to down-regulate, you're not just focusing on the emotions, it's really holistic. And so I think that that's why the program is really just a game changer.